All right, and the pin is finally out. Set it aside. Now this is where the tricky part is, as I have again learned the hard way. So the barrel comes off, and you will see, and again, I don't know how easy or hard it is to see this, but there is a little ridge here, if you will, on this side, and there is a lip, and just pay attention to the orientation of it. So again, there is a lip over here, and there is a little bit of a ridge right there. And as you will take the barrel out carefully, it might be stuck to the internal, I guess outer shell, let's call it outer shell. If you take the outer shell off, it might be a little bit stuck to the barrel inside. Just make sure you don't pull it out, because it actually consists of two parts, and I will show it to you in a second. So take the shell off, and you will see that inside of a shell there is a little groove. Just trust me, it's there. So that little groove aligns with the ridge over here. And again, pay attention. That's how it's going to be. That's how you'll know how to put the shell back on. Set that aside for cleaning. And now this consists again of a few parts. And as you pull it off, well, first before you do, you see that there is a kind of a push pin. You can push on it and it pushes back on you. There is a spring in there, and if you twist it, you see how the pin came out on the other side. I'm gonna hold the lip and twist the barrel, and the pin came out on the other side. Twist again, comes out on this side, and you can keep twisting. And that's what really happens. This ring, that little groove in there, that aligns with the ridge, it actually, when you twist the outer shell, it twists the barrel on the inside, and the pin comes out on this end or this end. And as you remember, the pins will be aligned into these dimples on the gear wheels, and so as you push it on one side or the other side, it's going to go into the dimple either on one wheel or the other wheel, and that's the wheel that's going to be spinning, right? Because if you think about it, here's the pin aligned with the groove right there, and it's going to keep spinning. Pretty cool. Now, where I got stuck a little bit the first time I worked on these, and thank God I had two of them, is I took this apart without, thinking much. I'm thinking, oh, there's just a single, pin with maybe a spring in there. What happened was, if you pull it out, let me just do it, I don't know, kind of angle it this way. As you pull it out, you will actually realize that what you have in there is actually two pins, one on each side, little guys too, and there is a tiny teeny spring. Not even sure you can see it. It's really tiny, and it sits between them. And here's, I guess, part of this barrel. That's how it's made out of. This is a machined part, pretty nice and heavy, sturdy. And this is the outer shell for it again. So once you take it out, you're like, ooh, shoot, how do I put it back together? Well, there is a trick to that. So again, once you clean it all apart, clean all of the parts, because at this point it's probably as far apart as you're going to take it, you need to be able to put it back in. So what I realized was, to put it back up in, I need to, it's quite interesting actually. So slide this on, and then the spin, let's see, I'm trying to remember how I actually did it. Right, so first you're gonna put it with the machined pin out, because you will see that this part is actually the whole pin. I'm just gonna call it a pin, but it's square rectangular, but then there is a round pin machine that goes in a groove. So first, let's slide it this way towards the lip, in the groove here towards the lip. And again, this round machine part goes in towards the lip, and you will see there is a little tiny teeny pin, I don't know, 1/32 of an inch maybe, sticking out from this pin. Again, I don't know if it's even possible. Maybe you can sort of kind of see it there on top. So that part has to be up. And again, slide it towards the lip. And don't slide it all the way. Have it slightly out. Barely holding it, right? And now you're gonna slide the outer shell in. And you see how there's slits cut in there? That slit goes over that little tiny 1/32 of a pin, because if you slide it all the way in, there is no way to put the shell in. There is no clearance. So that's why when you're putting it in, it has to be slightly out at first, like so. So put this shell on, and come on, and you will be able to slide it in. Excellent, right? Well, you got one of them in. What about the second one? Well, to slide the second one in, first you have to put the spring in, and there is a groove in there, as you remember, right? So slide the spring in the groove first. And I'm just gonna see, yep. So spring is in the groove now. And in a similar fashion, you just have to be use very finesse. So now it's in reverse, right? The round part has to be facing out, and the square part will go in. But again, this 1/32 of an inch pin, again, it's probably so hard to see, but believe me, you'll know, is there. You kind of slide it in a slit, and the slit is slightly off the barrel, the inner part. So you can actually kind of put it in there, align it with the groove, the spring and the groove, and then you will be just pushing it in. And I'm just gonna go off camera because it's requires some fine motor skills right here to do so. And you know, let me turn the camera off, because you don't need to wait for me while I tinker with it, and then I'll show you what it looks like again.